So I'm going to feature two stamp sets. I'm going to feature Nature's Harvest stamp set with the dies, the harvest dies. And there's lovely sentiments in here. We're going to be using this image here along with the larger image. And then we have the harvest dies, which I've already taken out the dies that I'm going to be using to cut out our images. But there are extra dies plus two label dies that will go over the sentiments. And then we're going to use part of the sentiments from Nature's Harvest, but I'm also going to incorporate in this card some sentiments from the best family ever. All right, we are going to start with our card base, and this is just a standard card base in Pale Papaya. And the measurements will be in the description. And this is one of our in colors that are that's retiring, that's leaving us this year. I'm going to bring in two basic white layers. These are both the same size, but I'm going to just stamp on one. And I'm going to bring in the small grid paper. This works really well in our Stamparatus, but it also works well to do some stamping off. And I'm going to bring in this image from our stamp set along with basic gray. So we're just going to ink this up. And then again, I am going to stamp onto my grid paper. And then, I'm going to try that again. I'm going to stamp onto my grid paper and then onto my basic white layer. And the reason I am stamping off is because I want to have a little bit lighter image on my basic white layer. So I'm stamping so this darker, and then I'm going to go ahead and then just turn my cardstock. So I'm inking this up, stamping off of my grid paper, and then turning my basic white card stock. And then I'll just go ahead and kind of turn my image as I go around. So stamp off and then stamp on. And we're going to turn this around and most of this will be covered up, but if I'm not sure that I'm going to have all of it covered up, I can go ahead and stamp off one more time and just put one right here in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to lay this aside. And then I'm going to bring in our other basic white layer and Calypso Coral. And I'm going to bring in our flower image. So I'm going to bring in our flower image, and we're going to go ahead and ink this up in Calypso Coral. And this basic white layer is going to be for the inside of our card. So I don't need to ink up all of the image because I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this at the bottom right-hand corner. And I just want a partial image of the, and this is going to go inside of our card. And then I'm going to bring in a scrap of basic white. And then we're going to ink up our flower image again in Calypso Coral. And now I want to make sure I have coverage on the entire image. and we are going to stamp and apply pressure so have good coverage. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to bring in our die, and we're going to go ahead and cut this out. A little trick that I have found that's useful is go ahead and place your die on your image and then take a little sticky note and then go ahead and run this through the machine. All right, I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to bring in basic white layer of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to go back to the basic gray again, and we're going to bring in Sister, and this is from the Best Family Ever. So I'm going to ink that up, and then I'm going to place this as at the top of my card, or my basic white layer. And see how I have some ink here on that block? I want to make sure that it does not get on my card, so I'm just going to take my chamois and then just wipe that off. All right. And we have Sister. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink up here in my thoughts. I'm going to lay this aside, and I'm going to bring in a scrap of basic white. Okay, we have that finished, and let's go ahead and bring back our basic white for the inside. Let's go ahead and put a greeting on the inside of our card from our Nature's Harvest. I'm going to use a reminder to never forget how much you mean to me and so many others. I'm going to ink this up, and then I want to just make sure that I have this on my block correctly. So I'm just going to stamp on my grid paper, and it looks good. And then we're going to go ahead and put this right up here. Okay, I think we're ready to put our card together. So I'm going to bring our card base back. I'm going to bring in our inside basic white layer. And we'll add this right inside our card base, get it lined up. See that move when I went to push it down? But we can change it because we're using our green glue. Okay, now I'm going to bring in our layer that we stamped on. And I'm going to bring in the Real Red and Burlap Combo Pack. And I'm going to use the burlap ribbon. And we're just going to wrap that around. So I'm going to cut that. Let's see, that's about 6 inches of ribbon. And then you can use glue dots, you can use Stampin' Seal. I'm just going to use regular tape. Then I'm going to turn it over to make sure I have it straight and pull it taut. And then I'm going to adhere this to the front of our card. So we'll add our adhesive. Ensure I go over that ribbon so it will adhere well. Now, you could make this card for anyone in your family, because the Best Family Ever has so many family member names that you could choose from. Now, I'm going to bring in another Pale Papaya cardstock, and we are going to layer the sister, when we stamp sister on. We're going to adhere this, our basic white, right on the Pale Papaya. And of course, you could do this in any color. Of cardstock that you wanted to. And then I'm going to turn this over, and we're going to add some dimensionals. And we're going to pop this up. You know, on second thought, I'm not going to. Now, you could pop this layer, these two layers up, but I'm going to send this to the mail. So I think I know I'm going to pop up my flower image. So I think just to make it go through the postage service easier, then I'm just going to go ahead and add some adhesive, but not pop these two layers up. Okay, we'll line this up. I'm going to turn this over. We're going to add our dimensionals. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some dimensionals that I've used, the main dimensionals, but I still have along the side. And this is just perfect for this image because I need a little bit smaller. Now, if you don't, you could also cut your larger dimensionals in half if you wanted to make them smaller. Okay, so there we go. We have two, and then the others I just used around the outside. So you never want to waste your dimensionals. I felt like this one was showing a little bit. There we go. Okay, I think I have all the backings off. So I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to turn it just a little bit so we can see the sister. And then we're going to bring this, and I am just going to use my snips or scissors. I mean, we call them snips, but they're just scissors. But they're called snips in our catalog. And I'm going to turn this over, and we're going to bring our dimensionals back. But before we do that, I want to show you something. Here's a little tip. So if I put adhesive all the way across, or if I then the adhesive is going to be going down like this, and it'll be adhesive here, so I don't want that. So I'm going to put a dimensional at the beginning and the end of my sentiment, and then add adhesive in the middle, because this is already popped up. So I don't want double dimensionals there, but I do want these sides to be popped up. So I'm going to add a dimensional at the at each end, and I'll take the backings off. Then I will bring in and add adhesive, and then we'll make sure that our sentiment is going the right way. And then we are just going to place this Bring it down at the bottom, however you want. There we go. Sister, you're in my thoughts. Let's do some embellishments. I'm going to bring these classic matte dots. And we have white, off-white, vanilla, gray, and black. So since we've used gray, I'm going to go ahead and just stick to gray. And I think we'll put one right here. And I'm using the smaller. You have small and then a larger size of each of the 4 colors. And just right there. Okay, here is our card. Sister, you're in my thoughts. A reminder to never forget how much you mean to me and so many others. I made another card for daughter, exactly the same, except I put daughter, you're in my thoughts. So again, if we look at that best family ever, you have grandpa, grandma, niece, husband, nephew. You have an and sign, mom, daughter, brother, great, and then in-law, uncle, son, aunt, cousin, granddad, friend, sister, wife, and then mom is spelled M-U-M as long as M-O-M, baby. And then you're in my thoughts, happy birthday, thanks, congratulations, best ever. So if you do not have this best family, this is a stamp set that you can just use and reuse for so many different occasions. So this is something that you really want to have in your stash. And then today we used Nature's Harvest stamp set along with the dies to make these cards. So let me know if you like the card that we made today. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking that subscribe button. I'm Terry Hartley. I bring videos once a week on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central. You'll find me on my YouTube channel, Rustic Barn Cards. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed week. Bye for now.